I love him. I love having his support. You know what I'm saying? His support is like very, very different from what I've had in the past, and how he speaks to me and stuff is very different. There you go.
Y'all, this isn't just chaos. This is degradation at a level nobody expected. Because what allegedly unfolded in private didn't just crack the Claressa Shields Papoose storyline. It shattered it completely. Sources claim Claressa didn't stumble onto clues. She stepped straight into the evidence. A murmur, a saved image. One name surfacing over and over like a shadow, refusing to disappear to Saki. And in that moment, everything reportedly collapsed inside her. The man she defended in public. The man she allegedly went to war with Remy Ma over. The man she insisted was solid. Allegedly, he was already checked out. Behind the staged happiness, behind the all is well captions, behind the illusion of security, Papoose was reportedly giving attention elsewhere. While Claressa kept performing loyalty for the world, that's when fear took over. Because insiders say Claressa understood something devastating. Papoose wasn't drifting. He had already made his decision. And this is where it reportedly turns dark. Allegedly, Claressa pleaded not lightly, not once. She begged him not to walk away. Phone calls, texts, emotional spirals. We can save this. Please don't do this. We still have something. But here's the detail nobody wants to confront. By the time those pleas were made, she was no longer the priority. Because Papoose had allegedly already crossed the line. And Tiki wasn't speculation. She was the next chapter. While Claressa kept smiling under bright lights, insiders claimed she was unraveling behind closed doors, clinging to something that had already ended. And then Remy Ma breaks her silence. No comfort, no compassion, just cutting honesty. She allegedly tells Claressa exactly what she says she warned her about years ago. He takes from women. He empties them. Then he disappears. And suddenly what once passed as romance started to resemble a transaction, resources, visibility, opportunity taken, then abandoned. This isn't a messy breakup anymore. This is a public implosion. And the embarrassment is only getting started.
I want to have 2 more fights this year. Then after that, take off a little bit of time, maybe have a kid or something, and then come back and fight some more.
It doesn't mean I'm not going to have time for the other kids. But it does mean that I have a new baby and I have to focus and give that baby my undivided attention.
Always the light-skinned girls who think they just so pretty and just because they born light-skinned that they just all that. That they can come up with shit talk.
Like my best friend, I talk to him about everything, you know, and when like the time is right, you know, people want details.
Strap in because this isn't a slow burn. This story grabs you by the collar, locks the exits, and makes you witness every brutal moment as it collapses. What began as low murmurs hardened into receipts, and what once looked unshakable splintered under a truth Claressa Shields was never meant to confront. Allegedly, there was no dramatic admission, no public meltdown that cracked it open.
It was colder than that.
Sharper, a quiet detail repeating where it shouldn't. A trail too consistent to dismiss to Siki. Those close to the situation say that single name dropped the temperature instantly. Claressa didn't just grow uneasy. She allegedly understood she had arrived late to a story already moving forward without her. While lenses captured confidence and captions sold calm, something had shifted off camera. The man she believed was secured wasn't wandering. He had already changed lanes. Papoose, framed publicly as steady, composed, and devoted, was allegedly moving very differently behind the scenes. Not sloppy, not impulsive, deliberate, low noise, intentional, and insiders claimed Claressa sensed the change before she could define it. Calls rang longer, replies shrank. Familiar warmth turned formal, almost courteous, like someone already packing. Emotionally, that's when the fear reportedly surfaced, because this wasn't only about affection. It was about leverage, optics, and ego. Claressa Shields is associated with command, not collapse. Authority, not appeal. Yet, sources alleged that once she grasped the possibility that Papoose was choosing elsewhere, the foundation gave way. The poise fractured, the armor slipped, and then, allegedly, the line was crossed. She pleaded not publicly, not performatively, but in the unseen spaces that never reach a fee. Messages piled up. Calls. Chase calls. Emotional reach-outs that didn't sound like a champion speaking. They sounded like someone terrified of being replaced. Insiders say she asked him to stay, to repair it, to remember what they'd constructed. She tried to pull him back from a situation that by then may have already been finalized. Because here's the ruthless truth no one wanted to say plainly. By the time Claressa began fighting for the bond, it may have already been over. Sources alleged. Papoose had gone beyond the gray area. Not hovering, not testing, fully engaged. And Tiki wasn't an online echo. She was allegedly the new focus, the one receiving presence, the one receiving priority, the one selected while Claressa was being managed. And still on the surface, everything looked intact. Posts continued, appearances went on, the narrative held. Normally was sold. But those paying attention claimed the display felt strained. Smiles stopped short. Movements stiffened. Chemistry felt choreographed. What the public saw no longer matched what was allegedly unfolding privately. That gap is where the disgrace set in. Because Claressa wasn't just navigating loss, she was allegedly watching herself become the last to know. The woman defending a man who had already pivoted, standing tall in daylight while quietly unraveling after dark. The optics were merciless, and Papoose's silence amplified it. No pushback, no reassurance, no clarity, only absence. Then the tone darkened further when Remy Ma stepped into frame. Not gently, not cautiously, but with the energy of someone who'd been waiting for the truth to surface. According to insiders, Remy didn't speak from envy. She spoke from familiarity because allegedly she recognized the pattern, had lived it, endured it. When Remy finally addressed the situation, sources say there was no warmth in her delivery, no consoling words. What followed was a cold reflection held up to Claressa, a reminder that cautions had been issued and dismissed. Remy allegedly made one thing clear. None of this was shocking. It was inevitable. She had warned Claressa to keep her distance, to stop fighting wars that weren't hers, to stop protecting a man known for turning opportunity into leverage. But Claressa, allegedly clouded by emotion and pride, stood firm. She challenged Remy. She chose Papoose anyway. And now, according to those near Remy, there would be no softening of the message. Because from Ray's vantage point, Claressa didn't simply experience infidelity. She was exploited. Exploited for access. Exploited for optics. Exploited for financial ease. Exploited for validation. And once a new option appeared, the switch flipped without hesitation. That allegation cut deeper than any whisper, because if accurate, it reframed everything. The appearances, the timing, the emotional imbalance. What once passed as affection began to look transactional. What felt like partnership started to resemble positioning. Insiders say that realization hit Claressa like a verdict delivered in public. Every post became evidence. Every smile interrogated. Every appearance dissected. Commentators began noting the fatigue, the fragility, the shift. Like someone carrying a truth too heavy to conceal, yet too humiliating to confess. Meanwhile, Papoose said nothing. And in moments like this, silence doesn't signal innocence, it signals conclusion. As this chapter closes, the image is already devastating. A formidable woman allegedly reduced to pleading. A man quietly stepping into his next phase, and an ex who warned everyone now watching the fallout unfold exactly as foretold. But this is only the opening act, because what Remy Ma is poised to disclose next doesn't merely embarrass Claressa. It threatens to dismantle the story she's been desperately trying to preserve. The quiet didn't fade, it swelled, stretching into every space where a denial should have landed, where a defense might have existed. And to those paying attention, that quiet became the most damning response of all. Because once Remy Ma finally spoke, the energy shifted instantly from chaotic gossip to something that felt uncomfortably deliberate. Insiders say this wasn't emotions spilling over. It was organized, precise, almost legal in its delivery, like someone presenting conclusions they'd reached long before the public caught up. Remy allegedly didn't rush to speak. She allowed the discomfort to breathe first. Let Claressa's appearances tell their own story. The tense smiles, the rigid posture, the captions that sounded more like crisis management than romance. And then when the moment was right, Remy leaned forward with a reminder that landed heavier than any direct accusation. According to people around her, Remy said Claressa wasn't blindsided at all. She was cautioned repeatedly, not softly, not indirectly, clearly. Remy claimed she explained the pattern years earlier, mapped out exactly how this would end, and warned that Papoose didn't commit to women. He committed to circumstances. Those close to the situation say Remy framed it as lived wisdom, not resentment.
Pause the story.
It chooses the loudest version of it. And Remy Ma didn't need to speak again to dominate the room. Her earlier warnings were replayed with a tone of inevitability now. Not bitterness, not spite, just grim accuracy. The kind that stings more because it doesn't gloat. According to those around her, Remy didn't chase validation.
She didn't need to.
The events did that for her. What shifted in this final phase wasn't just opinion. It was empathy, not in Claressa's favor, but away from it. Viewers who once admired her strength now questioned her judgment. Support didn't disappear overnight. It thinned. And thinning support is more dangerous than outright backlash because it leaves no clear enemy to fight. Inside that vacuum, Claressa was reportedly forced to confront something she had avoided since the beginning. The possibility that this wasn't bad luck or betrayal, but miscalculation. That realization, insiders claim, hit hardest when the performances stopped working. When smiles didn't redirect questions, when proximity didn't quiet rumors, when loyalty stopped being assumed and started being audited. Because in the end, the humiliation wasn't the alleged begging. It wasn't the alleged affair. It wasn't even the public warnings. It was the loss of authority over her own story. She couldn't control how it was told anymore. She couldn't dictate what mattered. And every attempt to regain that control only highlighted how far it had slipped. The tragedy deepened when sympathy became conditional. People began asking not what happened to her, but what she ignored. Not who hurt her, but who she dismissed. And once those questions take root, they don't go away quietly. According to sources, Claressa retreated, not physically, but emotionally, less open, less reactive, more guarded. The kind of withdrawal that doesn't heal, it preserves. It keeps you standing while everything inside collapses. And still, the silence from Papoose continued. No statement to clarify loyalty. No words to counter the accusations. No effort to rebalance the narrative. That silence didn't just isolate Claressa. It finalized the shift. Whatever version of events she hoped would prevail was no longer plausible without his voice, and he chose not to give it. As the dust settled, one theme became unavoidable. This wasn't just about romance. It was about power dynamics disguised as
Partnership.
about access mistaken for affection, about believing proximity meant protection. If the allegations are true, Claressa wasn't destroyed by scandal. She was undone by trust placed in the wrong direction at the wrong time. And Remy Ma's role, controversial as it may be, wasn't to tear her down. It was to strip the illusion away, to say the part everyone avoids because it sounds cruel until it proves accurate. That's what made this ending so stark. No dramatic showdown, and tearful reconciliation, and explosive denial. Just a woman standing in the aftermath of a story she thought she was controlling, realizing the ending had already been written. The public moved on faster than she could. That's always the final cruelty. Outrage fades, attention shifts, and the person left behind is forced to carry the weight alone. In the end, the humiliation wasn't loud. It was quiet. It was watching support evaporate without confrontation. Was seeing warnings turn into captions. Was understanding that being strong doesn't protect you from being wrong. And as the final frame settles, one thing becomes painfully clear. This wasn't a fall from grace. It was a lesson broadcast in real time. A reminder that in the world of visibility, silence can convict. Loyalty can be transactional. And love, when tangled with image, can turn tragic without ever raising its voice. This is the part where the cameras stop rolling, but the consequences don't. Because what you just watched wasn't entertainment. It was a slow-motion collapse of trust, ego, and public illusion. A reminder that silence can do more damage than denial. And loyalty disappears the moment it's no longer useful. Claressa didn't just lose a relationship. She lost control of the story. And once that's gone, there's no rewinding it. What makes this tragic isn't the alleged betrayal. It's the realization that warnings were spoken, patterns were visible, and choices were still made. This wasn't sudden. It was gradual. It was ignored. And when the truth finally surfaced, it didn't scream. It whispered. And everyone heard it anyway. Papoose walking away without explanation didn't just leave questions. It sealed assumptions. In this world, silence isn't neutral. It's a verdict. And Claressa was left standing alone in the aftermath, forced to absorb public judgment while pretending everything was fine. Remy didn't need to raise her voice. History did that for her. Every ignored warning came back louder. Every dismissed concern returned sharper. And now what looked like confidence is being re-examined as denial. This is what happens when image replaces reality. When access is mistaken for commitment. When power dynamics masquerade as love. The internet doesn't forget, and it doesn't forgive easily. It watches, waits, and then decides. So the question isn't who cheated or who lied. The question is who pays the price when the truth finally arrives. And if this story disturbed you, shook you, or made you rethink what loyalty really looks like, don't look away now. Stay watching. Speak your truth. Drop your thoughts below. Because stories like this don't end when the video does. They continue wherever silence is challenged.